Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to News Dose, and one of Xbox's upcoming games, I'd really say one of their biggest planned games of all time, just got some new information today, and this actually sounds very exciting for anybody who enjoys classic Bethesda games. And then we also have an update for another Bethesda game that should have an official announcement relatively soon. So, if you like Bethesda, then you're definitely going to want to stay tuned, but first, I do want to thank my supporters on Patreon and on YouTube memberships. Thank you just so much for what you do, and you will receive this video through early access. Let's go and get right into things, though, starting off with yet another delay for Replaced. This has been a promising independent title ever since it was first announced, and I think you can probably see why. It has some of the most striking pixel art visuals that I've ever personally seen, but for whatever reason, they just haven't been able to deliver on its many release dates. My guess is that's probably because it is a very ambitious game, and, they're probably trying to perfect it as much as they possibly can, which, I kind of view that as a good thing. But nonetheless, they've officially moved its release date back to April 14th. So, at least this is just a short delay this time, and they confirmed through several different responses that the game is technically complete. They're just using this extra time to polish it a little bit more. That way it will have an even better launch. Again, I view that as a good sign, and really, there's plenty of other games to play right now. It's been a very crowded start for 2026, so honestly, I think April might actually be the better window for them anyways. Now, this is a day one Game Pass title, though, so if you are on the fence and if you're subscribed, then you will be able to play it that way as well. All right, now we also got some Resident Evil leaks to talk about, and really the first of which is more so just me warning you all that you might want to be a little bit cautious around Resident Evil 9 conversations these next couple of weeks. And that's because seemingly it broke its street date, and information about it is currently floating around online. So if you're worried about spoilers, just kind of be careful anytime you see something related to Resident Evil 9. That's not quite all, though, because according to Dusk Golem, which has been very reputable these past few years, he claims that Capcom will be very busy with a loaded Resident Evil lineup over the next few years. In fact, it sounds like they will have a new game ready every single year through 2029. Obviously, Resident Evil 9 for 2026, but then in 2027, a Code Veronica remake. Then in 2028, they're planning for Resident Evil 0 remake. And then in 2029, Resident Evil 10, which I thought was actually the most surprising piece from this leak. My full expectation is that Capcom is going to go full steam ahead for these remakes because, it's just smart money for them. But Resident Evil 10, only 3 years after Resident Evil 9, that's pretty impressive if they can actually stick the landing. But, I've said it before, and I'll just go and say it again here. I honestly believe that Capcom has been the best publisher for about a decade now. They've been firing on all cylinders, and it just kind of feels like they're not going to slow down at all. And one of the reasons why is because of how they've resurrected Resident Evil and how it's positioned by alternating these remakes with brand new releases as well. It just always feels like there's something to look forward to when it comes to Capcom. Oh, and apparently Konami took Metal Gear Solid 4 and Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker off of digital storefronts before the launch of the Metal Gear Solid Collection Volume 2. And, it's not like these games are on new platforms or anything, or at least natively. Metal Gear Solid 4 was previously available through streaming on PlayStation, but Konami even put an end to that as well, which I'd say is for very obvious reasons. They want their customers to pay for their brand new product that's going to release this August. And, hopefully it'll prove to be the better option in the long run. But if you do want the PlayStation 3 version of Metal Gear Solid 4 for your collection, it is an amazing game. I think it's one of the best PS3 games, just period. I'd say pick it up now before its price increases. You can currently get it for around $15, but as for Peace Walker, on the other hand, it does go for a higher price, so this might not help with that. But again, hopefully the new collection will prove to be the better way to play both games. These are some of my all-time favorite games ever made, especially Metal Gear Solid 4. Realistically, it might actually be in my top 10 favorite games of all time, and I just cannot wait to dive into it once again all of these years later. All right, now let's go and get into the big story of the day, though, and this comes from Bethesda's Todd Howard. Yes, the legend himself, because he appeared on Kinda Funny Games, where he talked a lot about various different things, including both the Starfield 2.0 rumors and then also the highly anticipated Elder Scrolls 6. Now, I'll circle back to that here in just a moment, but first, let's go over what he said about Starfield 2.0 just to better set expectations for what's actually happening with this game. So he confirmed that there is something coming and it's going to get its announcement relatively soon. He didn't want to give a specific date, though, just from the rumor mill. I will say that we've been hearing a lot about next month or maybe even possibly in April, but he did say that Starfield 2.0 is not a thing. In his words, the new update will change things in isolation, but if you didn't enjoy the original game when it first came out, then he said this update likely won't change your perspective. This update is not going to completely change how Starfield operates, but its purpose is to give fans of the base game an even better version to play. Now, personally, I think that's perfectly fine. I've said it before, but I think Starfield is a good, solid game if you enjoy Bethesda RPGs. A lot of the discourse I thought was insane when it first released, and I still think it's insane all these years later. But at the same time, I do think it's their weakest franchise among their big three, and it definitely has its flaws. Regardless, though, it sounds like if you enjoy Starfield, then you will have something to look forward to fairly soon, and I fully believe this will include a PlayStation 5 announcement as well. We've been hearing a lot about that, and my expectation is that that is absolutely true. Now, the more exciting thing that Todd talked about, though, or at least in my opinion, was in regards to the Elder Scrolls 6. The Elder Scrolls is actually my favorite Bethesda franchise, and between Oblivion and Skyrim, both of those games are probably among the best RPGs of all time. I think they've also aged incredibly well, which is one of the reasons, games like Skyrim are still played by so many people all these years later. And well, hopefully the Elder Scrolls 6 will be able to extend their hot streak. And I'm feeling a lot more confident about that today because he said, quote unquote, when you look at our games, we've always sort of evolved. We do have a certain style that we like and that our fans like that we want to get better and better at. I think in some ways, many ways, Fallout 76 and Starfield are a little bit of a creative detour from kind of that classic Elder Scrolls, Fallout, a Skyrim or Fallout 3 or Fallout 4, Oblivion, where you're exploring a world in a certain way. And as we come back to Elder Scrolls 6 that we're doing now, we're coming back to that kind of classic style that we've missed. We spent the last several years bringing Creations Engine 2 that powers Starfield to Creation Engine 3 that will power the Elder Scrolls 6 and beyond. We're really happy about the things that we're doing, but also kind of the world systems loading, how we bring things into the world, how we get that detail close to the camera immediately. We have a style of game that we really like that people kind of expect from us, and there's still a lot of innovation to be done there. And I thought that that was a great response that really gives us some key details about the Elder Scrolls 6 and also some details that kind of alleviate some of the concerns that fans have had post Starfield. Not only did he specifically mention that Starfield and Fallout 76 was a creative detour for them, but he also made sure to emphasize that exploration will once again be the most important thing for the Elder Scrolls 6, and that Creative Engine 3 is attempting to be better with things like loading. Those literally were the two biggest complaints about Starfield. Its lack of exploration and its load times. So I think this is actually a very exciting response. And like I said before, there's a reason that people still play Skyrim and view it as one of the greatest RPGs of all time. Yes, there are people that don't like Bethesda games. That's well documented. And they've always, taken a lot of heat for just how buggy their games tend to be when they first launch. But at the end of the day, Bethesda has always excelled at making their worlds feel alive. That also allows you to just get absolutely lost in. Whether that be Oblivion, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, or Skyrim, it's just so easy to get sidetracked in their games and to get lost among their side quests and the many, many secrets that you can find. So if they can go back to that formula once again, all while improving the creation engine to do away with things like load screens, then this could be yet another instant Bethesda RPG classic. If anything, though, I am actually a lot more excited after hearing this, but Let me know what you all think. Do you like Todd's response or not? And if not, let me hear your reasoning in the comments below. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for this episode. But until next time, make sure to subscribe, ring that bell, and peace out.